Part 1, Chapter 3, Entering the Now. Chapter 3, Entering the Now. With the timeless dimension comes a different kind of knowing, one that does not kill the spirit that lives within every creature and everything. A knowing that does not destroy the scaredness and mystery of life but contain a deep love and reverence for all that is, a knowing of which the mind knows nothing. Break the old pattern of present moment denying and present moment resistance. Make it your practice to withdraw attention from past and future whenever they are not needed. Step out of the time dimension as much as possible in everyday life. If you find it hard to enter the now directly, start by observing the habitual tendency of your mind to want to escape from the now. You will observe that the future is usually imagined as either better or worse than the present. If the imagined future is better, it gives you hope or pleasurable anticipation. If it is worse, it creates an anxiety. Both are illusory. Through self observation, more presence comes into your life automatically. The moment you realize you are not present, you are present. Whenever you are able to observe your mind, you are no longer trapped in it. Another factor has come in. Sometimes something that is not of the mind, the witnessing presence. Wow, here is a very amazing line. The moment you realize you are not present, you are present. It's super. Be present as the watcher of your mind, of your thoughts and emotions, as well as your reaction in various situations. Be at least as interested in your reaction as in the situation or person that causes you to react. Notice also how often your attention is in the past or future. Don't judge or analyze what you observe. Watch the thought, feel the emotions, observe the reaction. Don't make a personal problem out of them. You will then feel something more powerful than anything of those things that you observe. The still, the observing present itself behind the content of your mind, the silent watcher. Intense presence is needed when certain situations trigger a reaction with a strong emotional charge, such as when your self image is threatened, a challenge come into your life that triggers fear, things go wrong, or an emotional complex from the past is brought up. In those intentions, the tendency is for you to become unconscious. The reaction or emotions take you over. You become it. You act it out. You justify, make wrong, attack, defend, accept that isn't you. It's the reactive pattern, the mind in its habitual survival mode. Identification with the mind gives it more power, energy. Observation of the mind withdraws energy from it. Identification with the mind creates more times. Observation of the mind opens up the dimension of the timeless. The energy that is withdrawn from the mind turns into presences. Once you can feel what it means to be present, it's become much easier to simply choose to step out of the time dimension whenever time is not needed for practical purposes and move more deeply into the now. This does not impair your ability to use time, past or future, when you need to refer to it for practical matters, nor does it impair your ability to use your mind. In fact, it enhances it. When you do use your mind, it will be sharper, more focused. The lightened person's main focus of attention is always the now. The enlightened person's main focus of attention is always the now, but they are still peripherally aware of time. In other words, they are continue to use clock time but are free of psychological time. Letting go of psychological time. Learn to use time in the practical aspect of your life. We may call this clock time, but immediately return to present moment awareness when those practical matters have been dealt with. In this way, there will be no build up of psychological time, which is identification with the past and continuous compulsive projection into the future. If you set yourself a goal and work towards it, you are using clock time. You are aware of where you want to go, but you honor and give your fullest intention to the step that you are taking at the moment. Yes. If you then become exclusively focused on the goal, perhaps because you are seeking happiness, fulfillment, or a more complete sense or self in it, the now is no longer honored. It's become reduced to a mere stepping stone to the future with no intrinsic value. Clock time then turns into psychological time. Your life's journey is no longer an adventure, just an obsessive need to arrive, to attain, to make it. You no longer see or smell the flowers by the wayside either, nor are you aware of the beauty and the miracle of life that unfolds all around you when you are present in the now. Are you always trying to get somewhere other than where you are? In most of you, you're doing just a means to an end. Its fulfillment always just around the corner or confined to short lived pleasures such as sex, food, drink, drugs, and thrives and excitement. Are you always focused on becoming, achieving, and attaining, or alternatively chasing some new trial and treasures? Do you believe that if you acquired more things, you will become more fulfilled, good enough, and psychological complete? Are you waiting for a man or woman give meaning to your life? In the normal, mind identified or unenlightened state of consciousness, the power and infinite creative potentials that lie concealed in the now are completely obscured by psychological time. Your life then loses its vibrancy, its freshness, its sense of wonder. The old patterns of thoughts, emotions, behavior, reaction, and desire are acted out in endless repeated performance. A script in your mind that gives you an identity of short but distorts or cover up the reality of the now. The mind then creates an obsession with the future as an escape from the unsatisfactory present. When you perceive as future is an intrinsic part of your state of consciousness now, If your mind carries a heavy burden of past, you will experience more of the same. The past perspective itself through lack of presence. The quality of your consciousness at this moment is what shapes the future, which, of course, can only be experienced as the now. If it is the equality of your consciousness at this moment that determines the future, then what is it that determines the quality of your consciousness? Your degree of presence. So, the only place where true change can occur and where the past can be resolved is the now. You may find it hard to recognize that time is the cause of your suffering or your problems. You believe that they are caused by specific situation in your lives and seen from a conversational viewpoint, this is true. But until you have dealt with the basic problems making dysfunction of the mind, its attachment to past and future, and denial of the now, problems are actually interchangeable. If all your problems or perceived causes of suffering or unhappiness were miraculously removed for you today, but you had not become more present, more consciousness, you would soon find yourself with a similar set of problems or causes of suffering, like a shadow that follows you wherever you go. Ultimately, there is only one problem: the time bound mind itself. There is no salvation in time. You cannot be free in the future. Presence is the key to freedom. So you can only be free now. Feeling the life underneath your life situation. What you refer to as your life should more accurately be called your life situation. It is psychological time past future. Certain things in the past didn't go the way you wanted them to go. You are still registering what happened in the past, and now you are registering what is. Hope is what keeps you going, but hope keeps you focused on the future, and this continued focus perpetuates your denial of the now and therefore your unhappiness. Forget about your life situation for a while and pay attention to your life. Your life situation exists in time. Your life is now. Your life situation in is mind stuff. Your life is real. Find the narrow gate that leads to life. It's it is called the now. Narrow your life down to this moment. Your life situation may be full of problems. Most life situations are, but find out if you have only problem at this moment, not tomorrow or in 10 minutes, but now. Do you have a problem now? When you are full of problems, there is no room for anything new to enter, no room for solution. So, whenever you can, make some room, create some space so that you find the life underneath your life situations. Use your senses fully. Be where you are. Look at around. Just look, don't interrupt. See the light, shapes, colors, textures. Be aware of the silent presence of each thing. Be aware of the space that allows everything to be. Listen to the sounds, don't judge them. Listen to the silence underneath the sounds. Touch something, anything, and just feel the acknowledge its being. Observe the rhythm of your breathing. Feel the air flowing in and out. Feel the life energy inside your body. Allow everything to be within and without. Allow the easiness of all things. Move deeply into the now. All problems are illusions of the mind. Focus your attention on the now and tell me what's problem you have at this moment. I am not getting any answer because it is impossible to have a problem when your attention is fully in the now. A solution needs to be either dealt with or accepted. Why make it into a problem? The mind unconsciously loves problems because they give you an identity of sorts. This is normal and it is insense. Problems problem means that you are dwelling on a situation mentally without there being a true intention or possibility of taking action now, and that you have unconsciously making it part of your sense of self. You become so overwhelmed by your life situations that you lose your sense of life of being, or you are carrying in your mind the insane burden of 100 things that you will or may have to do in the future. Instead of focusing your attention on the one thing that you can do now. When you create a problem, you create pain. All it taken all it takes is a simple choice, a simple decision. No matter what happen, I will create no more pain for myself. I will create no more problems. I will create no more problems. All through it is a simple choice. It is also very radical. You won't make that choice unless you are truly fed up with suffering, unless you have truly had enough, and you won't be able to go through with it unless you access the power of the now. If you create no more pain for yourself, then you create no more pain for others. Wow. If you create no more pain for yourself, then you create no more pain for others. You also no longer contaminate the beautiful earth, your inner peace, and the collective human psyche with the negativity of problems making. Should a situation arise that you need to deal with now, your action will be clear and incisive. It is arises out of present moment awareness. It is also more likely to be effective. It will not be a reaction coming from the past containing of your mind, but an intuitive response to the situation. In other intense, when the time bound mind would have reactive, you will find it more effective to do nothing. Just stay just stay centered in the now. The joy begin. The joy of being. To alert you that you have allowed yourself to be taken over by psychological time. You can use a criterion. Simple criteria. Ask yourself, in there is there joy, ease, or lightness in what I am doing? Is there isn't? If there isn't, then time is covering up the present moment and life is perceived as a burden or a struggle. If there is no joy, ease, or lightness in what you are doing, it does not necessarily mean that you need to change what you are doing. It may be sufficient to change the how. How is always more important than what. See if you can give much more attention to the doing things to the result that you would to achieve through it. Give your fullest attention to whatever the moment present. This impulse that you also completely accept what is, because you cannot give your full attention to something and all the situation time resist it. As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolve, and life begin to flow with joy and ease. When you act out of present moment awareness, whatever you do become imbued with a sense of quality, care, and love. Even the most simple attention action. Do not be concerned with the fruit of your action. Just give attention to the action. The fruit will come of its own occurred. This is a powerful spiritual practice. When the compulsive striving away from the now creates the joy of being flows into everything you do. The moment your attention turns to the now, you feel a presence, a stillness, a peace. You no longer depend on the future for fulfillment and satisfaction. You don't look to it for salvation. Therefore, you are not attached to the results. Neither failure nor success has the power to change your inner state of being. You have found the life underneath your life situation. In the absence of psychological time, your sense of self is derived from being, not from your personal past. Therefore, the psychological need to become anything other than who you are already is no longer there. In the world, on the level of your life situation, you may need it become wealthy, knowledgeable, successful, free of this, that, but in the deeper dimension of being, you are complete and whole now. The timeless state of consciousness, when every cell of your body is so present that it's feel vibrant with life, and when you can feel that life every moment as the joy of being, then it can be said that you are free of time. To be free of time is to free of the psychological need of the past, of your identity, and the future for your fulfillment. It represents the most profound transformation of consciousness that you can imagine. When you have had your first few glimpses of the timeless state of consciousness, you begin to move back and forth between the dimensions of time and presence. First, you become aware of just how rarely your attention is truly in the now. But to know that you are no but to know that you are not present is a great success. That knowing is presence. Even if initially it's only lasts for a couple of seconds of clock time before it is lost again. Then, with the increasing frequency, you choose to have the focus of your consciousness in the present moment rather than in the past or future. And whenever you realize that you had lost the now, you are able to stay in it, not just for a couple of seconds but for longer period as perceived from the external perspective of the clock. So, before you are So before you are firmly established in the state of presence, which is to stay, before you are fully consciousness, you shift back and forth a while between consciousness and unconsciousness, between the state of presence and the state of mind identification. You lose the now and you return to it again and again. Eventually presence become your predominant state. Chapter 3 complete.